In the heart of Germany, right in the center of Europe, an unexpected and fascinating event is taking shape. Even though many people thought religious vocations were a thing of the past, something deep and quiet is starting to happen. But this new spiritual energy isn't popping up in the places you'd expect. It's a phenomenon that brings a breath of hope, but also a bit of worry, because it shows how one part of the church seems to be fading, while another is coming back strong. Now Pope Leo has to decide whether to step in before this quiet split turns into a permanent break. I invite you to stick with me until the end of this deep dive. For years in Germany, the topic of priestly vocations has pretty much disappeared from public discussion. In official documents, during synods, and in speeches by church leaders, the main focus is on being welcoming, new ideas, talking things out, and being open-minded. Yet very few young people are choosing to become priests. The numbers are clear and leave no room for doubt. In 2024, according to data from the German Bishops' Conference and the Pillar website, only 29 new priests were ordained in all of Germany. There isn't much to celebrate. If we go back to 1962, there were a whopping 557 new priests. What has changed in all these years? In recent years, the church in Germany has tried to change, trying to look more modern, closer to people, and more in tune with today's society. But in trying to change everything, from how they worship to the words they use, from the role of priests to the meaning of the Eucharist, something important got lost: the spiritual part itself. Today, in many German church areas, they have special services with new symbols, modern music, and general messages about love and kindness. However, there's not much prayer. They rarely talk about God and almost never about sacrifice, guilt, or saying sorry. The results are clear. Churches are emptying, young people no longer feel God's call, and in many church areas last year, not even one new priest was ordained. Among the few who do become priests, many are over 45 years old, and often don't come from seminaries that have many young people wanting to be priests. Those who pushed for change hoped to attract people who were far from faith. Instead, the faithful have left, and most importantly, religious callings have been lost. While diocesan seminaries are emptying out and staying quiet, there are places where new priests are not only still coming, but they are growing strong. The difference is easy to see. In these places you can really feel the young people. The young men are busy studying, they meet to pray, and they proudly wear their cassocks or celebrate Mass using the old Latin rite. Often, these are young men under 30, with a calm and strong look, like someone who has made a firm choice to give their life to God without holding back. Across Germany, traditional communities like the Priestly Fraternity of St. Peter, the Institute of Christ the King, and the Fraternity of St. Pius VII are flourishing, each with their own unique character and deep-rooted practices. In these communities, the atmosphere is reverent and focused, far from the spectacle of modern trends. The old liturgy is preserved in its full beauty. Latin prayers, Gregorian chant, incense, and candlelight fill the air. These communities value silence, discipline, and a sense of the sacred, drawing on centuries-old traditions. For example, in the Fraternity of St. Peter, young families gather for catechism classes, children learn the rosary, and everyone participates in processions honoring the saints. In the Institute of Christ the King, choirs of young people rehearse sacred music, and the community celebrates feast days with elaborate ceremonies and shared meals. Young people are especially drawn to these traditions, finding meaning and belonging in the rituals and community life. Seminarians immerse themselves in Gregorian chant, study the works of St. Thomas Aquinas, and practice fasting as a spiritual discipline. Many spend hours in silent prayer before the Blessed Sacrament, seeking a deeper connection with God. The result is a vibrant, joyful faith, one that radiates energy and hope, especially among the youth. These communities show that tradition, far from being outdated, can inspire a powerful spiritual renewal. The crisis of vocations in Germany isn't just happening by chance, it comes from a very specific plan. For a while now, many German bishops and thinkers have been pushing for big changes in the church. All of this is called synodality, a word that's now used to excuse moving away from old traditions. And while church leaders are talking about being open and including everyone, in the local churches, people are leaving more and more. Every year, hundreds of thousands of people choose to officially leave the Catholic Church in Germany. Just in 2023, according to numbers from the German Bishops' Conference, over 522,000 people formally left the faith. At the same time, the church areas that are most progressive are the ones seeing the biggest drop in new priests. Finally, we're getting some good news, and surprisingly, it's coming from Germany. Germany is often seen as where the church is struggling, with endless meetings, empty churches, and deserted seminaries. But right here, something is changing, and it's actually growing in a big way. In 2025, the priestly fraternity of St. Peter ordained 25 new deacons. 13 of these were ordained in Germany, and 12 in the United States. This is really impressive, especially when you consider that, according to official numbers, in all of Catholic Germany, only 29 priests were ordained in 2024. If you appreciate our work in sharing this information and you share our values of being open and honest, we invite you to support us with a donation. Every video takes hard work, learning, and careful planning, and our project relies only on your support. Your help allows us to keep doing this important work. Thank you very much. We're not comparing this to the church in Africa or Latin America, we're talking about Germany itself. In just 1 year, the priestly fraternity of St. Peter almost matched the number of vocations from all German dioceses combined. And these aren't even priests yet, but deacons preparing for the priesthood. We can't ignore this fact because it shows a clear and important truth. Tradition brings results. Where prayer is real, where the Eucharist is celebrated with true devotion, where doctrine is taught bravely, young people respond. And they aren't people stuck in the past, rigid or spiritually burdened as they're often portrayed. They are calm, confident young people full of faith, ordinary people who bravely chose to say yes to God in a church many are leaving, but one they want to serve with all their heart. This is the real new thing. Not another administrative document, not another declaration about diversity, but 25 young men in religious habits, kneeling and ready to give themselves completely. No crisis of vocations here. This is true vitality. With these things happening, a question naturally comes to mind. Is anyone in Rome keeping an eye on this situation? By now, this issue is no longer just a guess or a theory. If there isn't a strong move to fix things, there's a real risk of a true, official, and recognized split. We're not just talking about arguments inside the church anymore, or hidden disagreements about church services or beliefs. Instead, it's a clear break, something everyone can see. This would clearly show that a large part of the German church is breaking away from its connection with Rome. This isn't about being an alarmist, you just need to look at the facts. For a while now, changes have been pushed in Germany that set aside historical teachings. The church services being used are slowly moving away from the church's traditions. There's talk of a new church, one that's not based on Peter anymore but on constant meetings. In all of this, Rome's silence might be seen as giving up. Right now, at this important moment, Pope Leo XIV is called to make a big difference. Not by starting a new group to investigate, nor with just a letter asking people to think, but through a strong, clear, fatherly, and powerful action that reminds everyone of the true Catholic faith, the one that has always been there. It's not about choosing between the past and the present, it's about keeping the unity that is based on truth. Because without truth, real unity can't exist. What do you think about what you've seen? If this video inspired you, type Amen in the comments. God bless you.